friends, August here. This is Cozy Rosie Reads. This is another weekly reading vlog. It is actually Sunday today, and I am about to endure a 2-hour long drive for a photo session across the state. So I just picked up some lunch for myself. I just picked out an audiobook. I'm going to be listening to Midwinterblood by somebody, I can't remember. I had this on my want to read list on Libby for a while. Sounds kind of like a fable, dark fantasy, very interesting book. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot going on. I don't really know how to explain it. So hopefully I can explain it later. So I haven't been able to start the vlog any earlier, just because yesterday was so lovely and busy. And I was honestly hoping that by the time I would start this vlog, I would be done with fucking Middlemarch. And I'm not. I spent all this morning reading this, from 9 a.m. until right before I left, and I'm still not done. So I was looking at the audiobook version. I was like, okay, I wonder if maybe the audiobook would help. But even this last chunk, I'm on page 760, and there's 794 pages. So I only have 34 pages to go. This chunk right here, I'm almost done. And I really thought I could get it done before I left today. But I looked on the audiobook, and the audiobook for this chunk is an hour and a half long. It's just so time consuming. I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it, especially this ending part. Things are happening and happening really quickly, but there are just 4 or 5 pages straight of no dialogue and just introspective reflections of characters and their thoughts, and it's just very laborious. But I am enjoying it. I just was kind of pushing off the start of this vlog so that way hopefully I'd be done with this and I could just start a vlog fresh with a new book. But alas. But I'm giving myself some grace because I only started this last weekend from page 330. So since here, I've read all of this in 1 week. So I should be proud of myself. But I was, procrastinating the start of this vlog in hopes that I would be done with it. So hopefully when I get home tonight, I did bring this with me because I'm getting to my photo shoot area. I should be getting there a half hour early. I always leave really early, in hopes that maybe I could read a little bit more. Just brought along with me just in case. So that's where I'm currently at. But yesterday, Saturday, was so lovely. I had a photo session in the morning, and then I went over to my friend's house who I haven't seen in a really long time, and we caught up for 6 hours, talked about books and literature, and he loaned me some of his books, and it was just really nice. And then I've literally spent all this morning trying to finish Middlemarch so I could start this vlog and actually talk to you all, but that hasn't happened. So I just thought I'm going to start it now. So I'm about to start this audiobook, eat while I'm on the road, drive for 2 hours, do a 1-hour photo session, and then drive 2 hours back. So that is my day. I won't be getting home until 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. today. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you so much for being here. I hope we can find comfort in books and wintertime, and I do love driving for these long shoots, but I've just been anxious about it all day because it is such a long drive and it's going to take up my whole day. So let's go ahead, hit the road, listen to an audiobook, eat some lunch, and I'll check in with you all probably later tonight when I'm home or tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you all very soon. did it. I did this. I did this. Almost 800 pages of Middlemarch. I did it. I finished it. It's done. This might have to be one of my biggest literary life achievements. Books I've read. This one. I can officially say I have read Middlemarch. I am so proud of myself. Wow, I did it. The last line is so beautiful too. I am going to reserve my thoughts for this for my February wrap-up. We'll see how it lingers with me. Right now I just am so proud of the accomplishment in general, so we're gonna just set this right over here. But now I can display it on my shelves. I did it. I read it. This big thing. I did it! Probably one of the longest books I've ever read. And not just even in terms of the actual length, but also the font size, but also the density of the topics and the amount of characters and everything. So with that being said, I am home safely. My photo shoot today was awesome. It was so successful. It was so cold outside, but it was really cool to travel to this new town that I had never been to before on the east side of the state. It was just really awesome. Really long drive, and I was listening to Midwinterblood by, why do I keep forgetting the author's name? I'm loving it. I am loving this book so much. I am 44% of the way through already because I was driving for so long. I'm loving it. This is like a super surreal, magical realism story, and it's all told in vignettes, and I believe there are 7 different stories within it, but they all have an underlying element, and so far it seems like it all takes place on the same island called Blessed Island, and there's some botany that's underlying throughout it and a character that is the same throughout it, which is so fascinating. But it opens up, the first chapter or story takes place in 2071 or 2073, and then the next chapter is 2011, next chapter is 1941. So interesting. I'm loving it, loving the writing style. It is so engrossing. It's been so long. I have not listened to an audiobook in so long, friends. It's probably been since very early December. So being able to find one that I genuinely enjoy is such a treat, and I'm loving it so much. I've just been thinking about like how much I want to own this book physically already. It's just that good. Like I'm just really, really loving it. It's so unique, and it is classified under horror on Libby, but it is like a little unnerving and surreal, but it doesn't necessarily feel like gripping horror yet. But there are just some very sinister things happening. So it's very, very interesting, and I'm really loving it. Like, I am actually shocked how much I love this audiobook so far. And that's something that like very recently I've fallen into, where if I listen to an audiobook that I really, really enjoyed, I've been wanting to buy a physical copy for my shelves so I can return to it and read it visually, because I do find that the experiences are very different. The 2 that I've purchased most recently that I've listened to is like Little Weirds by Jenny Slate, and what was the other one? The Swallowed Man by Edward Carey. Both books that I only have listened to audibly, but I bought both books brand new because I loved them so much as audiobooks, and I know they're books that I would love to reread with my eyes and visually. So this is a book that I'm really thinking about, but I might find a copy used, maybe on thrift books if I can. It's just so good, and I can't believe I've never heard of it, but based on Goodreads and some reviews I've seen, it's a pretty popular book, and I think it's won a few awards, but I just had never heard of it. So we'll just see what's available online, and hopefully I can find a used copy because I'm just loving it so much. So I only have like 3 more hours to go of that audiobook. Really loving it. So for the rest of the evening, I think I'm actually going to start importing photos for my session tonight and just kind of like look through some, maybe edit a few just to get a sense of like how they turned out. But tonight I'm going to finally be starting a new book because Middlemarch took so much of my time and energy for so long. It has been on my nightstand for so long, since November. So it just feels so good that this will no longer be on my nightstand or just sitting there and like waiting patiently for me to pick it up. So now I can move on with the rest of my February TBR, and that's just such a great feeling. So I think the next book I'm going to pick up is going to be Walking on the Ceiling by Aysegül Savas. This is a book that I found at my grocery store for $5 in their bargain book section. And I'll read you the inside jacket here. Also, this cover, I just really, really do enjoy this cover. We got this like person in the background and these plants. It reads, a young woman named Nunu moves to Paris to start over, leaving behind her childhood home in Istanbul and the aftermath of her mother's death. She knows no one in the city. She longs for connection. One day, outside of a bookstore, she meets M, whose novels about Istanbul Nunu has always admired. They find themselves walking the streets of Paris and talking late into the night, developing an unusual friendship of eccentric correspondence. M is working on a new novel set in Turkey, and Nunu tells him about her family and her home. As she does so, she also begins to confront her past relationships, her mother's silence and anger, her father's death, and the growing unrest in Istanbul. Their intimacy deepens, as does Nunu's fear of revealing too much to M, of giving too much of herself away. An unguarded glimpse of a young woman's coming into her own, Walking on the Ceiling is about the complexities of memory, storytelling, and the places real and imagined we can't escape. Which sounds like a really, really good transition from Middlemarch into a little bit more kind of like contemporary or modern literature. I'm really excited. Let's read the first sentence. For a short time when I lived in Paris, I was friends with the writer M. He was a foreigner to the city too, which may have been one reason for our friendship. We went on walks around the city and we wrote to each other. What remains of that time is a photograph of M standing in front of a marble wall, looking at me with bewildered eyes. Above his raised eyebrow, a pale and jagged scar rises, deepens, and disappears. Oh, I'm so excited for this. The writing style already does feel very like minimal, and just flipping through it seems like it's about like the very small delicacies of life. Like I randomly just flipped and it was talking about a navy colored sweater, grapes, taxis, buttery pastries, like jewels that decorate the windows. I just love books that are so delicately, beautifully detailed with their descriptions, and it's very specific and just so delightful and very microscopic and doesn't need a bigger plot. I'm really excited for this one, so that's what we're going to be starting today. I'm just looking at Winston, like, where is his neck? Where's your neck? So this is what I'm going to be starting tonight. I'm so excited. I'm really, really excited for this book. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into some editing, or basically uploading some images, maybe some editing tonight, and reading this and just chilling out for the rest of the evening. And then tomorrow I don't really have any plans, so I'll be editing, working, and reading basically all day. Yay! Yay for finishing Middlemarch, and yay for starting a new book. Happy Sunday. Good morning, friends. It is 10:30 on Monday, and I wanted to do a quick check-in because I'm 100 pages through Walking on the Ceiling. Wow, I am loving this so much. I'm flying through it. It is very easy to read, and it is just like these tiny little vignettes that bounce throughout our main character Nunu's life. Flashes back to her childhood, growing up with her mom, and then reflecting on her conversations and relationship with the writer M. And it's so beautifully written. I am just such a huge sucker and fan for lists in literature of different objects in a house, different materials, like satin, crystal, cotton, like that kind of stuff, but then also so much food description, like indulgent foods, descriptions of markets and flowers and seeds, botany. I'm just a huge fan of that, and this is all in it. So the atmosphere of both Istanbul and Paris are just so gorgeous. And these are just tiny vignettes. Sometimes they're only a page long of Nunu kind of reflecting on her life, and this feels in its structure with that really short vignette style of What We Lose by Zinzi Clemens that I read last year, where it feels so much like autofiction, feels so intimate and close and detailed and emotional, just really heavy with emotions and memories. But it's in that vignette style where it's just so small, you're just getting tiny glimpses of who a person is rather than what they do for work or what does their everyday look like. It's just so reminiscent and very romantic. But I personally enjoy the writing style of this one more than What We Lose. I enjoy the atmosphere, the descriptions. It just feels really poetic and languid, and I'm just really enjoying this. So definitely gonna finish this today because I have nothing going on until later this evening when I have a yoga class. So I'm just kind of hanging out. Got to page 100 this morning, and I might do a little bit of work right now or something around the house. I'm just feeling really anxious right now before hopping back into reading, but I am just enjoying the reading experience of Walking on the Ceiling so much. I'm annotating a lot. You know what, let's actually share a little passage that I recently annotated. Let's see. I have just been annotating a lot. What do I even want to share? There are some passages in here that or some vignettes that I just immediately asterisk, like right by their chapter number. I just asterisk the entire thing. I'm like, no, this whole thing is beautiful. So I won't read like an entire thing, but this one reads, M told me that the simplest routines of my day were poetic, and with this observation, I tried to add more poetry to my days. And then in parentheses, it reads, it pains me a little to remember this now. I can't say why, but I had bought a bowl for the studio, a deep dark blue bowl that I filled with fruits, a poetic sight, perhaps only so that I could write about it to M. In the afternoons, I chose specific destinations from Akif Amka's journals, which is another character in the book, the old crystal factory on the Rue des Paradis, the calm and leafy stretch of Peniches on the Canal Saint-Martin, the cave behind the waterfall at Parc des Buttes-Chaumont. I'm probably butchering all of this. I'm just trying to do an accent. Always with the vague idea that these places might eventually fit into my imagined novel, and always I came home to write to M about my discoveries. It's just so beautiful. So I annotated that one and just kind of wrote in the margins like romanticized or romanticism. Like she is like romanticizing her life in order to correspond with this author, M. And they talk in this way where they don't want to talk about serious or emotional heavy things, but they connect and in a way are talking about emotional things by listing out things they see, names of places, very minute details of a day, the colors around them, the smells, the food. It's very sensory, but in that way they are able to connect and maintain this relationship that feels really intimate without ever talking about who they are personally. And I just really love that. So I'm really loving this. So I think I'm just gonna kind of do a little bit of busy work, get my mind off of some things, and then revisit Walking on the Ceiling. So that is my day so far. I will check in with you all later, and cheers to wonderful books, friends. friends. It is 6:30, I think, on Monday night. I finished Walking on the Ceiling earlier today. It was so easy to read. It was so like fast-paced, but also just so reflective and beautiful. I annotated a lot. I really enjoyed this reading experience so much, but I don't think it's gonna stick with me, so we'll see how the next like few weeks go. And I'll talk about like a final rating for my February wrap up. I just thought it was like so delightful to read, and I honestly do think I would have enjoyed reading this a little bit more in the summer too. So if you are interested in reading this one, I do recommend it for like spring or summertime, like just reading all these descriptions of food and walking around Paris and Istanbul, like, is just so glorious and delicious. I just think that this would have been a really perfect companion on like a picnic or like a summer walk or something. It's so leisurely and reflective and sweet and tender. So we'll see how it like sits with me, but overall I did really enjoy it. So right now it sits at like a 4-star. So that is Walking on the Ceiling. I'm so happy I was able to finish another book this weekend. It makes me so happy. So and then if you saw in my montage, I was debating between 3 different books to start, and I decided to go with Queen Victoria Demon Hunter by A.E. Moorat. This just because the first line gripped me so much. The first line reads, "Much later, as he watched his manservant Perkins eating the dog, Quimby gloomily reflected on the unusual events of the evening. But oh, it had begun so promisingly. All of the zombies were safely confined to the lower quarters, the prostitutes had arrived and were being served drinks in the library, and Quimby was briefing the man about the ... Like, how intriguing. So I only got 1 chapter in on chapter 2, which is just page 9, and already it is so laugh out loud funny, very raunchy. So it is about like talking about prostitutes and pornography and that kind of stuff, but it's so funny. It's just so satirical and like very cheeky, and I'm loving it so much already. Like these zombies, and I already talked about like a 2-headed rat, rats eating people alive. Like, this is just going to be a lot of fun, and especially after finishing Middlemarch and then Walking on the Ceiling, which are like more dense, beautiful, but like very emotionally dense books. This is obviously going to be my next read. So really enjoying the start of this. I have to get ready to go to my cardio yoga class in a little bit here. It is now dark out. It's snowing. It's really nice. I've just kind of spent today off of my phone, and that's felt really nice. I think I need to do more intentional time like that, where an evening or a whole day of just like putting my phone in a drawer and just leaving it. I don't know if I've ever done that since having a smartphone. So I want to do more of that. It was just so good for my mental health. I was able to finish a book. I ate dinner and have just been really enjoying watching a TV show without distracting myself with my phone at the same time. I don't know if anyone else is guilty of that, where you like put on a show and they're like on your phone at the same time. So like I'm actually actively watching a show right now. So it's just very good for my mental health right now. And yeah, I have to get ready to go soon, but tonight I definitely plan on reading this, just curling up after a cardio class, feeling tired, and like just get into cozy clothes again and curl up with a good book. And yeah, so it's been a really chill Monday. Typically, like, because of my weird freelance work schedule, weekends are work days for me, and then Monday and Tuesday are typically like, there's a I had no idea there was a cat under there. Oh, hi, bless you. There we go. Yeah, and then Mondays and Tuesdays are my actual weekend, it feels like. So that's when I do most like of my errands and appointments, and then just actually relaxing on Mondays and Tuesdays. So today has just been really needed and it feels really good. So that's my check-in, friends. I will see you all tomorrow. Good morning, friends. It is Tuesday. I am dressed and ready for the day because I'm meeting my friend for brunch. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so nice to catch up and go to one of my favorite brunch spots that I haven't been to since my birthday last year. I am loving Queen Victoria Demon Hunter so much. I'm on chapter 6, page 42, and I'm just loving it. It's so easy to read. It is like really high fantasy, but really satirical, and it's a lot of historical fiction about the monarchy, about Queen Victoria, who's 18, who's next in line for the king, people who want to kill her so that way she's not queen. It's so interesting. And then there's like succubus characters. There are these like crazy, what do they call them? Like arch riders or something, who are like half man, half beast, but they're just, I don't know, like the writing is just so delicious though, because it's so fast paced and really, really fun to read and very atmospheric and very funny. So funny. I'm just really enjoying this. So after brunch today, my only plan for the rest of the day really is to come back home and read this and kind of do another day of just like putting my phone aside, silencing things, not spending time on it, and just reading and trying to be really mindful and present. Definitely something I want to practice more instead of falling down a rabbit hole of social media. So I'm gonna go head out, go downtown, meet my friend for brunch, catch up, have a delicious breakfast, lunch, brunch, have some more coffee, and see where the day takes me. So hopefully more reading. I would love to finish this. It's just so much fun. I'm already 40 pages in. There are 367 pages, and it's just so fast paced. The text is really spread out as well, so who knows? Maybe we could finish it today, maybe not. I'm just enjoying it regardless. It's so funny. And I forgot to mention it does take place in 1837. That's where we're starting off, 1837. It's just really good. I'm really enjoying this. So yeah, I'll check in with you all a little bit later. Hi, sweet friends. It is now Wednesday. Just taking my lunch break at my part-time job. I'm gonna make myself some actual lunch soon, but I wanted to chat with you all for a second. Last night, I finished listening to Midwinterblood by Sedgwick. I fucking loved this book. I loved this book so much. I bought myself a copy, a used copy from Thrift Books, and it is on its way to me. I'm hoping it arrives before a fun video that I have planned for next week, which is going to be a big winter book haul, so stay tuned if you're interested in that. I don't know if it will come in time, but I'm just really excited to have a physical version of this. There are so many different book covers, but I ended up going with the one that I have shared with you all because it is the most beautiful. All of the other ones are a little cringe to me, and this one fits the vibe of the book so well. And it's my first time using thrift books and just getting a book that's acceptable, quote unquote, because there's like good, fair, and then this one's just acceptable. So I'm like, yeah. My partner and I were joking about how much I love like used battered books, because I was like, give me the water damaged, give me the battered, and he was just like, give me the torn, give me the, you know, like the Statue of Liberty. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I'm really excited to see the condition it's in. Give me the dog-eared pages, give me books that are annotated. I love that so much. So I'm really, really excited to have my copy, and I can't wait to physically reread it. I want my partner to read it. I just loved this so much. The ending was really emotional. I'm trying to find a way to like describe the plot so it makes a little bit more sense, but basically it's all about the beginning is this man who comes to this island. He's a journalist and he's trying to uncover some mysteries of the island, but then he's given tea that makes him sleepy and forget his reason for arriving on this island. And then they're all like short little stories that are all connected to this island and this plant and this tea and rabbits or hares, and wow, I just loved it. So like each chapter is like from a different time period and a different perspective, but they all have these underlying things, and at the end it just like kind of wraps up, even though you can kind of surmise like what's happening probably by like the third or fourth story, but the ending just like made it emotional and made you like connect with everything a little bit more, and mwah, I really liked it. And I saw on Libby that this is classified as like young adult or children's or something, and I was like kind of baffled by that because it is pretty gruesome. There's a lot of death and really bloody scenes of death, so definitely, I don't know, I'm just so curious as to like why things are considered a certain age range or not. Kind of going back to like my vlog a while ago about Call of the Wild and how that was considered children's literature, and I was like, what? Like, it's just so gory and frightening. So I really, really loved this book. We'll see how it like sticks with me, but like the listening experience was so good. So I definitely recommend the audiobook. It was so engaging and engrossing and just beautiful. The first audiobook in such a long time that's actually kept me listening and eager to listen. So that's what I did yesterday. I just started painting and coloring and getting creative while listening to the audiobook, and that really helped my anxiety. It helped me just feel really, really good. So I'm going to be on the hunt for more audiobooks that make me feel that way. So hopefully it's successful. I just want more like unique reads and audiobooks that will keep me like an active listener, you know? So loved that. So I finished 3 books in this weekly reading vlog, which is awesome. Only started 2 out of those 3, but it's okay. I finished 3 books this weekend. And then I am still reading Queen Victoria Demon Hunter. I got to page 114 last night because I was just so excited to finish Midwinterblood. So I am now almost halfway through Queen Victoria Demon Hunter. Enjoying this so much. The funny bits have definitely kind of petered out, and it's much more about Queen Victoria's relationship to Albert, and you just like can't trust anybody because she is trying to be assassinated by like these demons, and she just like can't let anyone into her life. She thinks everyone is suspicious or has really bad intentions. So it's just really interesting and so fun. Like I said, it is just so fast-paced though. Like it is so fun to read, easy to fly through. Like I am just so beyond thoroughly enjoying this one. So can't wait to talk to you all again soon about my final thoughts on this, but sadly, I am here to conclude this vlog. I hope you all enjoyed it. This was just such a fun one for me, especially when dealing with anxiety and I'm feeling anxious and uncertain. It honestly helps so much. Like, even though I am just talking to myself, it does feel so nice to feel like I am connecting with you all in a weird way. I know that makes sense, but it still feels weird to say out loud, but it just helps me so much, like, to document things in my life and things that I find beautiful, and beautiful light coming in and snow and coffee and candles and books. And I hope it brought you a sense of comfort as well, because it definitely helped me so much. Even just editing this vlog has been like such a joy for me, because I know personally, looking at the footage, like, oh, I was feeling really, really anxious that day and I was not feeling good, but to visually see like how beauty and nature and these little tiny moments can make up a life, kind of very similar to Walking on the Ceiling by Aysegül Savas. Like, it just felt really good. So thank you all so incredibly much for being here. I really hope you're all doing really well, and I can't wait to see you all again very soon for my next video. Until then, friends, stay cozy. Bye!